Shabbat Shalom. Let's take a nice deep breath of Shabbat air. We'll breathe in everything that we want to hold on to from this past week. Think of all those moments, those beautiful moments that you had this week. Sunshine, outside, family, friends. All those moments that are precious that we want to hold on to. And then we want to let go of everything else. Everything that it was just part of last week. We don't need it anymore. All right, one more time. How wonderful it is for us to be together tonight. And this is a very special night and a very special Shabbat because we have Mark Rosen's bar mitzvah. Raise your hand if you are a part of Mark's mishpacha, his family. Look at that. I think we could all raise our hand because we're somehow connected to him somehow, especially in Buffalo. We are so excited. Mark is going to be leading a number of our prayers tonight, and we'll have a chance to see him and hear from him and to really bless him in that way. And it's wonderful to have such a large family come into our sanctuary. For those of you who knew, we do have bathrooms right outside, but they're easy to find. All right, we are going to turn to page 142 for Shalom Aleichem.
Because Harvey does this whenever I'm not here.
Yeah, and Harvey's not here because he has his granddaughter's graduation in Binghamton. We're going to invite up Mark and his immediate family. We have Jen and Adam and Melody, who might be coming. Let's see. All right. And we're going to let's turn to candlelighting is on page 120. Why don't you want to do it in front of the microphone here, and we'll have your family light. What?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner.
Amen. There was a lot of bluster behind you because we were trying to light the candles. So let's bring that in together now. The candles are light.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
All right, we're going to have Mark lead us on the Kiddush on page 123.
You can do it.
Yeah, better to be safer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahavat v'ratzon hini lanu zikaron l'ma'aseh v'rishit ki hu yom tehila l'mikrei kodesh zecher l'siyat mitzrayim ki vanu v'chalta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'achava u'ratzon hinaltanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat.
Amen. L'chaim.
Fine.
Well, how special it is to have the Rosen family up here with us, lighting of the candles and the saying the blessing over the wine. The Kiddush is really about what happens in the home, and to have the Rosen family there doing that, it felt like you brought a little of your home to us. So I really appreciate that. We wish you a wonderful mazel on this wonderful weekend. We are going to turn to L'Chadodi to officially welcome in Shabbat on page 138 and 139. We're going to sing together the first, second, fifth, and ninth verses. On the ninth verse, we rise, we face the doorway there, we bow to Shabbat as it enters, or Ryan Queller is also doing. And then we welcome one another by waving each other and welcome each other into the room.
Ishmiyanu, Ilham Yuchad.
בואי כלה, בואי כלה, one more time, everyone.
Let's take a look at our community here. Look around. One of the differences between a service and a concert or other things is that we're not just watching an experience, we're part of the experience, and all of us is an important part and needs to recognize each other. When you go, like I was at Shays this week, you go in, no one really sees each other. Maybe you do, a few people, but here we look around and we say, this is our community. With that in mind, we remain standing for the Baruch Hu, our call of prayer, page 146.
La 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 la. Chime with me. La 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 la
Let's read together in the Hebrew, page 148, Hamariv Aravim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro mariv aravim b'chokhmah poteach sharim uv'tuna mishaneh itim u'machlif et hazmanim u'misader et hakokavim b'mishmerotehem b'rkia kirtzono Borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech v'choshech mipnei or Umavir yom v'umevi laila, umavdil ben yom u'ben laila, Adonai Svaot Shemo, El Chai v'kayam tamid yimlok aleinu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 150, Ahavat Olam, God's eternal love.
Ahavat Olam. עמך אתה, תרמו מצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, המתנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח דברי תורתך. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael.
Page 152.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
You may be seated. We turn to 154, and I'd like to invite up Mark Rosen again to lead us in the Via Hafta.
ואהבת אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בפשיטך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים ללכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Let's continue on page 159. We'll read together in the English. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generation to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Page 158, Mi Chamocha.
Well, if that was Harvey's, what was it? Harvey's Shalom Aleichem. This is Bruce's Mi Chamocha.
And they're both not here today.
I know. Oh boy. Mi Chamocha v'elim Adonai. Try with me. Mi Chamocha nehedar b'kodesh norati Lord Hosef norati Lord Hosef let's try it. Mi Chamocha v'elim Adonai. Mi Chamocha nehedar b'kodesh norati Lord Hosef norati Lord Hosef
So this next song that Cantor's picked out on 161, Let There Be Love, is the perfect song for this Shabbat. This is the Shabbat about hate and ugliness, and it's the Torah portion Korach, where there's a big rebellion in the Israelite community. And I think this sentiment, I realize, let there be love and understanding among us, that's what we always hope. You could say that any week, because there's always interpersonal conflicts that we have amongst human beings. And so this sentiment, the reason why it's so powerful, I think, is because we always want that. Especially when we come to services, we should put away our disagreements, find the love between us.
And this one is Linda's, really. If that was Bruce's Mikamoka, this is really Linda's Let There Be Love.
She's a good peacekeeper.
Yeah,
too.
she keeps that round going. Once you know the English part, you can just keep singing it no matter what I sing. The Let There Be Love little stanza in there. Page 161, in case you... I hope everybody sings along. Very simple. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Try with us. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. I'll go into the Hebrew, you can do the English. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu,
Shelter from life's storms. Let there
Tamidenu,
be understanding.
Shomreinu l'chaim, uvros aleinu, Sikatunu lifetime. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu.
Peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
One more time. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms.
I invite you to rise if you're able for our silent Amida. It starts on page 164 through page 180. Feel free to pray in the Hebrew, English, or just your own private prayers, and whenever you're ready, you may be seated. continue with a prayer for peace, page 180, Oseh Shalom.
Oseh shalom, biroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'alkom Yisrael ve'yimeru, amen. Oseh shalom, biroma, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'alkom Israel ve'yimeru, amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'yakom Yisrael ve'yimeru, amen. Oseh shalom v'imromav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Israel ve'yimeru, amen.
I don't think you've done that one in a while. That's a nice one.
No, but I know Harvey does it when I'm not here, so. While the cat's away.
Well, I love Cantor actually pays attention when she's
Yeah,
not
well,
here.
I report everything to the Jewish music licensing company called
right.
J License. So every week, I
Yeah, it's-
report everything that we do so that the composers get reimbursed a fraction of whatever. So, yeah, every single composer is reimbursed from everything that we do here. That's broadcasted. If it's anything's done in a private room, it's not. But anything that goes out, on social media or anything.
It's really so important, and I'm so glad that you took that on, because when we sing things here, we think it's private, but people put a lot of time and energy into them, so it's nice for them to be recognized in that way.
And it's a big responsibility. You have to keep up with it every week, and it's not always what you feel like doing. You have to report every song and find it in the catalog.
Every little notch these artists get, they think.
Yeah, it adds
Cantor
up.
Frank, she sent that to me. We're going to turn to our Healing Blessing Misha Barak, page 371. I'm going to read our list of names from our community. And if you have other names of people you'd like to say out loud, feel free to raise your hand and we'll go around the congregation. You can also just say the names in your heart, and we can pray for one another as well. Again, 371. As a community, we are thinking about Steve Bagel, David Bernstein, Kate Brewster, Kim Brodsky, Richard Zyback, Murray Ettinger, Carol Fisher, Sue Frank, Ida Frost, Maureen Furlong, Michael Gettings, Sam Golden, Freda Goodstein, Dick and Kathy Gordon, Heather Houston, Miles Levy, Savannah Lucas, Megan McEvoy, Gail Nosenchuk, Leslie Oken, Robert Poses, Aidan Raccoon, Maddie Rinzenberg, Karen Rosenfeld, Cheryl Rossi, Brandon Ryan, Jill Turabasi, Eleanor Wasilewski, Mary Weiss, Sid Weiss, Robin Weinstein, Mike Wheeler, Flossie Zakowski, Shoshana Bat Bracha, Bat Ami, Bat Shulamit, Yochevet Bat Esther, Miriam Bat Rezel, Avram Bat Rivka, Chana Ezra Ben Shul, and Reuven Ben Morris. If you have other names, feel free to just raise your hand.
Rima Ackerhold and Susan Simon. Mark Register and Mark Nolan. Christopher.
Diane Beacon.
Let's bring all those names into our hearts as we'll sing the Misha Berach together.
Misha Berach Avotenu
complete healing of body and soul. All right, before I begin my talk tonight, I'm going to do a little survey of the room. And before I even ask this question, I could probably guess, and we could all probably guess from each other, what your answers are going to be. So this is a question about conflict. Okay, how many of you, when there's a conflict, run towards it? Raise your hand. Okay, it's okay. The New Yorkers in the bunch. All right. How many of you, when there's a conflict, run as far away as you can? And how many of you are in between? As I said, we have a Torah portion, Korach, that's a real doozy. And I have a confession to make, Mark. Usually, I would be very excited to give the Bar Bat Mitzvah this portion, because of all the portions, it's an interesting one. It's the one that you want to take a look at, because it involves this huge communal fight that is extremely dangerous. You have Korach, Datan, and Aviram, and 250 of the other central leadership of the leaderships, and of the Israelites, and they confront Moses, and they say, "Why should you have all the power? Aren't we holy? Why are you the only one who gets to talk to God? Why are you the only one who gets to make the decision?" Have you ever been in a fight like this before? This is one of the most common fights that we have, about how to do things, especially in work situations or other families. And it doesn't end up very well. Mark, what happens to Korach in the end of the story? A pit opens in the ground, and Korach and all the people, the thousands of people involved, are swallowed inside. And that is the end of the conflict, right? There's no more conflict. And I would suggest that that's probably not the best way to handle conflict. When we think of conflict, if you have people together, more than one person, you're going to have disagreements at times. And I think that the Jewish way is actually not to be afraid of those disagreements. We have an example from the news lately of the Buffalo Bills. How many of you have been following the Bills? This is their off season, right? But the two central characters on the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen, number 17, and Stefan Diggs, number 14. And this is a wonderful partnership. If those of you from Cleveland or other areas, you'll see the signs all over Buffalo, 14 and 17, that's what it's referring to. But over the summer, there was a little conflict. The receiver, Stefan Diggs, was unhappy. We're not even sure exactly what he was unhappy with, but he was not welcomed into one of the practices, and then there was a question of whether it's okay. And part of the reason, the feeling, this is discussed around the country. Really, it's quite amazing, these interpersonal conflicts. Thank God we don't have to deal with that. But, you have interpersonal conflicts, which are part of it, and it's dangerous. Conflict is seen as dangerous. I saw reports, well, we need to trade Stefan Diggs. We can't have conflict. But the truth of the matter is, you can't have communication without conflict. You can't be able to share what's deepest in your heart, and you can't have vulnerability. You can't have all these things that make our relationships strong and make our world strong. You can't succeed as a football team or any sports team without really delving into your conflict. If you're afraid of that conflict, you will not succeed in whatever you do, because it'll stop you. You'll be afraid to ask. The people that like to confront, they'll confront. The people that back away, they'll back away, and suddenly you won't have relationships anymore. The rabbis teach us to go into conflict. They actually tell us, and this is crazy, Mark, right? If you have a study partner, do not pick a study partner that you're like, a chavruta, your study pairing. You need to pick a study partner that has knives out for you. The best study partners are the ones that challenge you, that disagree with you. If you're in a conversation about Torah and you're, yes, that's wonderful, you're probably not having it the way the rabbis wanted you to have Torah. They wanted you to have that because if not, the conflict will build, and also we don't get the depth. The more that we try out our positions on one another, the more our ideas are expanded, and the better off we are for it. One of the surprising things in the Torah, when you think about it, is that this conflict seems to come from nowhere. Korach and all these elders, I've never heard a single complaint for them up until this week. We don't hear anything. We don't know what went into it, and suddenly you have a rebellion. So the first question you need to ask about the Torah portion is what happened before the conflict? Not what happened in what we can see, but why did it take so long? Why was nothing done to prevent this major battle that happened? Why wasn't this handled early on? And why weren't the different sides listened to? Because clearly something happened that led to what caused the rift in the community. So I happened to find this book over in our free section of the CSS. If you see right by our office there's sometimes wonderful books. This is called We See It So Differently. It's by a Jewish psychologist, Leonard Felder, PhD. And it comes from the division. It was only published a few years ago, right before the pandemic. And it comes from the divisions in our society. Blue state, red state, purple state, a lot of the debates, this is before the coronavirus, but all the things that were happening. And he actually begins with a story from his youth, where his, I think it was his grandfather that passed, and he's in a service, and he's coming from a more liberal Jewish perspective, but they're in an Orthodox Shiva minyan. And it's only the men that are included. And he's 11, 12-year-old boy, and he's speaking up. Well, what is going on? How can this happen? And he realized then that we need to have these discussions. Even if we're disagreeing with one another, we have different opinions. It doesn't mean that we can't be in community together. And maybe it's vital that we are. So I'm going to give you his lessons that I pulled out of the book, and hopefully they'll be helpful to avoid what happens in the Torah portion. Number 1, make sure not to publicly embarrass someone. And this is a rule of our Jewish Community Relations Council. Whenever we have an incident that comes up in Buffalo, a lot of groups would say, let's bring it to the news. Let's embarrass the group so that they wouldn't do it anymore. And you never can, if you do that, that would be the end of a relationship. You won't fix the problem. So we never do that. Number 2, make sure you aren't dumping on someone else for what first needs to be addressed in your own character and psyche. I think this is an important one. Each of us is a flawed human being, and each of us needs to work on it if we think about what actually is affecting us. Number 3, make sure to come up with creative alternatives that honor both of your perspectives and be willing to go forward for the sake of peace, as we'd say, the rabbis would say, for the sake of heaven and healing, rather than for the sake of your ego or saving face. And this is key. We need a compromiser. How do we find the distance between us? How do we bring ourselves closer together? Number 4, this is number 5. Take a moment to notice if you gave favoritism, and then make sure to seek impartiality and fairness. So sometimes, especially if there's more than one, as a parent, what parent doesn't confront this if you have more than one child? One child says, "Oh, you're not fair to me. You're being partial to the other child." Number 6, be aware that almost every person needs some preventative tools for when their impulses are simmering and trouble could happen. So we could use some tools. Let's work on our tools. That's where all our therapists and clergy and other people in our society are trained to do that. Number 7, reach out to support people for seeking genuine healing and repair. Reach out beyond ourselves for help. Number 8, listen without lecture. I think that's really key. Sometimes we get into the experience of lecturing one another, and that never works. If you're in a battle of one set of facts into another set of facts, you will always lose. In other words, the conflict won't be resolved. You can always, has anyone been in that situation? You think, if I could just share this one fact, I will win this argument, right? Does it ever work? Yeah. It never convinces the other person, I don't think. Number, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, yeah. Appreciate that both sides feel unheard and frustrated. And I think that's really key. That if, you know as a leader you're doing something right when both sides feel upset. Because then you know you're not being partial. Okay, number 10, discuss without shaming. I think that's similar to before. And number 11, have the humility to admit we all have some baggage and discomforts. All right, so as we think about the conflicts in our lives, let's not be afraid of them. Let's encourage them in a way. Let's expect them. When they come along, say, okay, that's what needed to happen. And when we need to have those important conversations, make sure, let's do a check on each other. And I hope that that's true for Cantor and I, for our community, that when we have things we want to share with one another, let's share it. Let's share it here in our space. Let's feel comfortable to do that, even if there's a discomfort in the moment. It's always better of voicing that discomfort in the moment than allowing things to go forward. As they say in our tradition, when Hillel and Shammai disagreed, and you want to know which ones, in the tradition, Hillel was always honored and would be included more than Shammai. All the opinions, except for 3, went to Hillel. But we always include Shammai's. Why? Because these and these are the words of the living God. So all of our words, even if it's a minority opinion or the majority opinion, all of ourselves, all of our opinions have worth. And in that way, we can live together, as it says, with love and understanding amongst us. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
And Mark, I am so sorry for this Torah portion. You'll see, he works it out beautifully tomorrow, actually. All right, we are ready for our service, and I think we're ready for Naomi's part, aren't we? Naomi, where are you? This is my favorite ark opener of all time. Come on up. All right, you ready? Yes. And we're going to rise as the ark, page 586, Alenu.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הקם, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וקורבננו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים. לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא, יהיה
You may be seated. We're going to turn to the mourner's Kaddish. I recognize there's a number of people here for yard sites, and we're happy that this is a safe space to be able to mourn our loved ones. And you'll see the lights around the room that are lit up with the names of people whose yard site is this week. First, I want to recognize Morton Rothstein, who died this recently. The funeral is coming up. and our thoughts and prayers with the family. And we also had a number of losses this past month. Jim Miller, Sophia Shevat, Mark William Shepard, and Lynn Ullman. On our yard-site list from years past, we remember Doris Ellen Applebaum, Rose Berg, Sultana Berger, Ethel Berman, Louis Borens, Bertram Breitbart, Ann Bunis, Nathan Cassover, Alan Cohn, Suzanne Cohn, Stanley Corris, Jim Ellis, Mary Etkin, Annette Phoebus, Harry Friedman, Sophie Queller, Adolph Lansing, Rhea Markle, Samuel Molman, Sam Paris, Mary Rosenberg, Millie Sachs, Marin Sandberg, Mac Schaeffler, Ethel Schreierberg, Arkady Sheragotzi, Arthur Stein, Ida Tobin, Dr. Beverly Winston, and Estelle M. Yud. If there's other names, feel free to raise your hand. All those whose custom it is to rise, page 586. Sorry, 598, sorry about that. Reflexive. Yitgadal, v'yitkadash, shemei rabbah, bi'alma divrach churte, v'yamlik malchute, v'chayechon, v'yomechon, v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'agalau v'zman kariv v'yimru, amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam olmei omayah. Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudasha b'rechu leila min kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechamata damiran b'alma v'yimru amen Yehei shlam rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen Oseh shalom b'imramav hu yaseh shalom Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony and high bring peace to us and to all Israel and to all the world. And we say, Amen. You may be seated. Zikronam livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. We're going to invite up Sheila Bernard Tucker to offer our announcements. As she's coming up here, I just want to point out, we read Ann Bunis's name. And the Federation staff, we had a tour of Hurdle Avenue and the old Jewish community there. And we learned about Anne ran the Staple Shop, which was a wonderful store on Hurdle Avenue that was around till the 90s. Incredible. And our community, Ann Bunis and her husband Lou, helped to found the Temple Sinai version. So it's really great to hear about her story. All right, come on over, Sheila. You don't have to be Bruce tonight. Sometimes it's intimidating, right?
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Mazel tov to Mark Rosen and his family on his up-and-coming bar mitzvah tomorrow morning. We would like to thank me, the service greeter. A very special thank you to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, and Nick Stelzer for a lovely service in honor of Shabbat. Our virtual offering on Saturday is Torah study at 9 a.m. via Zoom. The Shabbat morning service and bar mitzvah of Mark Rosen will be at 10:30 a.m. The next Shvetas will be on Tuesday, July 11th. If you pre-order, you are guaranteed a dinner and you save $1. Visit our website to place your order. During the month of June, the Tikkun Olam Committee is collecting food and personal items, donations for the Tiger's Den Food Pantry. Please bring a donation each time you come to Temple to help us fill the bin to the brim. There are collection bins and baskets in the lobby near the coat room and in the community religious school. Save the dates. Join us for our Hawaiian Shir Shabbat on Friday, July 14th at 6 p.m. under the tent. It'll be followed by the summer kickoff cookout at 7 p.m. The cookout is sponsored by our Rabbi's Discretionary Fund. And on Saturday, July 15th, It is Summerfest again at 7 p.m. Please join us for drinks, dinner, a DJ, dancing, bonfire, schmoozing, and a photo booth sponsored by the Executive Directors Fund. Tickets are $10 a person. Please go to our website for your reservation. The summer celebration returns on Monday, August 7th with Temple Beth Zion at Transit Valley Country Club. Come for golf or wine or both and tour followed by dinner and an auction. It will be a very fun event. There are flyers right outside the sanctuary. Shir Shalom is participating in the Life and Legacy program. We are at the end of the second year and appreciate all of the people who have made a commitment so far. If you would like to hear more about it, please let us know, and we will have our chair, Craig Small, reach out to you. Thanking you so much for helping us secure our future. Please check our up-and-coming events in our service leaflet. We hope that you will take it home for reference. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to Rabbi Alex, Cantor Frank, Todd, Bruce, or Joanne. They are here for you. Don't reach out to me. Thank you, everyone who participated in the marriage consecration service. It was very special with Jay Dreff and Ken Kaufman. Mark your calendars for Friday, August 11th at 6 p.m. for a mini concert featuring Jay Dreff and Ken Kaufman. It will be followed by gourmet pizza and wine. We hope to see you there. Please join us for a beautiful Oneg Shabbat sponsored by Jennifer and Adam Rosen in honor of the bar mitzvah of their son, Mark Rosen. If you would like to sponsor an Oneg for any occasion or no occasion at all, please contact Joanne. Shabbat Shalom and Mazel Tov, Mark.
Well done, Sheila. That was really nice, actually. We are going to turn to Adon Olam, page 625.
Tomorrow morning, we're doing the folk Adon Olam, the call and response. And tonight, we're doing a Sephardic one on page 625.
Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'Teven Kol Yitzir Nivra, V'Yed Nasa V'Chefsa Kol, Hasai Melech Shemo Nikra, Hasai Melech Shemo Nikra, V'Yachareh Kiklot HaKol, Levado Yilach Nora, V'Hu Haya, V'Hu Hoveh, V'Hu Yiyeh B'Tifara, V'Hu Yiyeh B'Tifara, V'Hu Echad V'Ein Sheni, V'Cham Shilo Lehavira, V'Li Reishit, V'Li Tachlit, V'Lo Hamuz, V'Hamisra, V'Lo Hamuz, V'Hamisra, V'Hu Eli V'Chai Koari, V'Tzur Chavni V'Yitzara, V'Hu Nisi U'Manosli, V'Nat Kosi V'Yom Nekra, V'Nat Kosi V'Yom Nekra, V'Yado Avkid Ruki, V'Etishan V'Ayira, V'Imruchi V'Viati, Adonai Li Elohira, Adonai Li Elohira.
And we have the Rosen family, Adam and Jen and Mark and Melody. You want to come up again to do Hamotzi for us? Melody's leading tomorrow, so maybe she'd like to do it. Just the Hamotzi. Right over here. Here, you guys can hold it.
Hamotzi lechem min Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
And then the challah is a gift from us. You can take the challah part. That's for your family. Aren't they so cute together? Okay. As you came in peace, may you leave in peace. Shabbat shalom. Please return your Sidurim, your prayer books to the front of the sanctuary, minus the leaflet, and join us for the Oneg. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.